As Kim Lee once again sat next to me, he waved and nodded as Min Ho left the room. Turning back to me, he leaned in close and asked, "I wonder what's gotten into her?" Of course, I still could not answer his question, but I understood the point he was trying to make. Kim Lee held up the documents that were settled in his lap and asked me if I was ready to continue. I blinked once to acknowledge yes. Min Ho refers to the next part as the good stuff. I am not sure I agree with that. In fact, things take a totally different direction from this point forward. But I guess you will be able to judge for yourself what I'm saying. Leaning back in the chair, my friend cleared his throat and began reading where he left off. The tone and rhythm of his voice again became smooth and far-reaching into my consciousness, returning me to the near dreamlike state that allowed me to reconnect with the events of so long ago. Grasping my sister-in-law's arm, we began to head back towards the armory to get a good night's rest before leaving in the morning. Our elderly escort held her other arm for support. We left there feeling both tired yet relaxed from all the day's activities. As we approached the gated area to the marketplace, I heard the voice of a man with an authoritative tone calling out to us to stop. Some armed guards rushed before us, blocking our path. Turning to see who it was that was addressing us, I recognized the man as the scholar who oversaw our transaction from the day previously. He was followed closely by the assistant who accompanied him from that as well. Taking a stand between my sister-in-law and her elderly assistant, I asked why we were being detained. Clearing his throat in a condescending manner, he asked, "I thought you were leaving this morning. You know I was acting as a representative of His Majesty and it would be unlawful for you to lie to me." I tried to respond to his statement, but he held up his hand to indicate he was not done speaking yet. "You better think long and hard before you answer, or I will turn you over to the magistrate to be interrogated." I couldn't believe this strange turn of events. Just a moment ago we were enjoying our time together in the marketplace, and then suddenly, without a moment's notice, we are confronted with a situation with such dire consequences. And even though we hadn't done anything wrong, his question sounded more like an accusation. Looking back at my sister-in-law, she had her head down and was clenching her hand around the curve of her stomach, and I could clearly see she was frightened with this sudden change of circumstances. Could this be what the others spoke about on our trip here? Could we have fallen into some type of trap? I began to feel a great deal of pressure at the prospects of answering him wrong. How would he react to the truth? The truth is the only answer I had to offer. In a humble tone I replied to his inquiry, "Sir, as you can see, my sister-in-law is with child and she wanted to stay an extra day to shop for some of the fine fabrics that are offered here in the palace marketplace." I pointed to the materials she had folded under her arms. "You see, we were just shopping for some supplies for the new baby. We really didn't mean to inconvenience anyone, especially you, my lord." I bowed my head so as not to look in his eyes, and hoped he would show mercy on us. Looking back at his companion, he shook his head. Turning back to me, he again began speaking down to me in a patronizing way. "I know how persuasive a pregnant woman can be. I will forgive you this one time. But in the future, in order to avoid misunderstandings, do as you say you are going to do. You really should have left when you said you would." At that, he nodded to the guards who were blocking our passage, and they acknowledged him by moving aside, clearing our path. Thanking him, we turned and hurried our way back to the armory.